I'm here today with Brian Froelke, Washington University School of Medicine Emergency Medicine faculty. Brian graduated from the University of Cincinnati School of Medicine way back in 2002. He graduated from the EM residency here at WashU in 2006 as chief resident, and he was the inaugural fellow in the EMS fellowship here at WashU in 2007. He's board certified in emergency medicine and holds a subspecialty certification in EMS. Dr. Froelke is the medical director for EMS as well as the Community Health Access Program at Christian Hospital. He has served as the regional EMS medical director for the East Central region since 2007, has served as the state EMS medical director from 2013 to 2016, and is the president of the Interstate Disaster Medical Collaborative. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for talking to us today about this exciting day we have coming up in November, Election Day actually, Election Day 2016, called Senior Friendly Emergency Care, what doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, and ancillary providers need to know. And so you've done some very fascinating stuff in EMS and brought some great ideas to me. I wanted to make sure the audience has an opportunity to know what you're going to be talking about in November as they decide if they're going to invest 4 hours of their time to come. I really hope that they do. And I hope that those audience members aren't limited to emergency medicine residents and faculty, right? I hope that they include nurses, physician extenders, hospitalists, geriatricians, surgeons, primary care providers, hospital administrators, nursing home directors, pharmacists, physical therapists, case management services, home health, and community organizations like AARP and Alzheimer's Association, because geriatrics is a team sport. This is not something emergency medicine can or should do by themselves. So I had some questions I wanted to run by you. What do you see as the key challenges for rural and urban EMS services to effectively and cost-effectively care for an aging population with emergencies in coming decades?
So, to answer that question, I think we have to realize that so much of our present EMS is devoted to the transportation to emergency departments or for inter-facility transports. And for the geriatric patients, and even more broadly, the entire population, we realize that there's a greater need for preventative care, especially for patients with comorbidities and immunocompromised states. We know that keeping them out of the hospital is key.
Yep.
I believe that mobile integrated care, health care, which includes emergency medical trained, EMS trained community paramedics, can help better address the entirety of the pre-hospital system and not just the short trips to and from the hospital. To address the rural environment, there's going to be the integration of local resources, may help to actually reduce the prolonged travel times associated with 911 and facility transports, possibly reducing some of the overall costs by utilizing the community resources. And then for both the rural as well as the urban environments, we will hopefully be changing a shift in the way that EMS services are reimbursed in order to reimburse them or to create a pay infrastructure that allows them to take care of patients in the best possible way and not just shipping them to and from places.
Yeah, it's going to be important that any innovations that EMS services make to adapt to this new population, these new challenges, that there's a financial sustainability to it, right? Because if there's no financial stability, very few are going to take this on. They can't. They'll go out of business, right?
Absolutely. And that's one of the nice things about being a medical director for these programs is getting an opportunity to see tried and true, well-known and working medical care being provided to patients in a unique way. While everybody is focused on the financial aspects, the medicine is easy. We're doing the right care for the patients in the right place. It's just how to convince the bean counters to, decide that it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, hopefully we have some of those bean counters in the audience in November.
Oh, absolutely. High bean counters.
You'd mentioned community paramedicine. Can you describe that a bit for anybody who's not familiar with that concept?
Yeah, so community paramedicine or advanced practice paramedics are folks that EMS-trained paramedics who also have up to 300 plus hours of additional education devoted around diagnostic and evaluation tools, as well as the ability to identify for treatment and non-transport. They also have a lot of information with regard to social work type and case care coordinator tools, primarily designed to integrate and interface with community resources for patients while interfacing with primary care physicians, etc. So it's a wonderful adjunct to our pre-hospital tools.
Excellent. That's a great innovation for pre-hospital. What I was part of the group for the American College of Emergency Physicians and the American Geriatric Society and others who developed geriatric emergency department guidelines. Do you find that those guidelines, as you're aware of them, are pertinent to pre-hospital care for older adults as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. In two different parts, let's first take the day-to-day operations of our 911 system that currently exists. Already we're taking a look at the geriatric population, taking a look at the guidelines for insights with regard to both environmental as well as iatrogenic risks to this population. When we work as medical directors in the pre-hospital environment, we're already modifying protocols to tweak and alter potentially the types of medications and certainly the doses of medications that are commonly provided to these folks, while looking for risks in the home, because our EMS has extension into these patients' homes, and I can identify fall risks and other potential environmental factors that may be playing a role in their care. Though the transports are relatively short with regard to some of the manipulations of the environment, we can certainly address some of the ergonomic and pharmacological risks as well. Just recognizing that it may be a little bit more difficult for somebody to get up into the stretcher and so forth, carrying stools, that kind of thing, to help people get in and out of some of the EMS environment. And then also looking at things like the Beers criteria, which helps identify some of the polypharmacy. When the EMS providers go into the patient's home and they see a pill box, maybe if they're lucky, but oftentimes overflowing bottles, 20-some medications on occasion, they can certainly report that through to the emergency medicine folks and help work with them on how to help fix that problem.
Yeah, I've not been a real pre-hospital type person in my entire emergency medicine career, but I have had older patients come to the emergency department with a big, huge bottle of pills that's like a jelly bean jar, and it's just all their pills poured in there. So I can imagine some of the interesting polypharmacy issues the pre-hospital folks see when they are actually in their home. So tell me a bit about Christian Northeast Innovations that you'll be presenting in November, to just give our audience a teaser for why they should come.
So Christian Hospital actually has pioneered some of the pre-hospital integrated programs. They have a program called the CHAP, or Community Health Access Program. This program, we have the trained paramedics with over 300 hours, as I mentioned, of education, becoming advanced practice paramedics or community paramedics. And the program initially is designed to identify the high utilizers of both 911 as well as the emergency medical services and emergency medicine. And utilizing this group of advanced practice providers in conjunction with social workers, case coordinators, community resources. The plan is to devise individualized solutions to improve each patient's health and decrease their utilization. The individualized care plans are developed and monitored over several weeks, and the 911 and emergency department use is reviewed and explored. Part of this involves medicine reconciliation, close communication with primary care physicians, in-home assessments, coordination with outpatient resources, and all under the oversight of the hospital-based EMS medical director, which is myself. The newest addition to our program is a collaborative effort with a group called the Memory Care Solutions. And this one's particularly exciting and particularly interesting for this particular talk. And through this partnership, we're identifying some of the patients that would already meet criteria for enrollment into our APP or our community paramedicine program. But what we are doing is we're doing a screening cognitive evaluation on these patients, including the short blessed, and if they meet criteria for some of the resources for cognitive and behavioral modifications associated with the memory care solutions, then we're providing that in a collaborative and a unified healthcare manner. So we're taking two systems that work, and we're trying to bring them together to show how together they work better. And hopefully, we're already having some individualized patient successes, so hopefully we'll have something at the end to report as opposed to case series.
And we're going to have some representatives from Memory Care Solutions at the event in November, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. They'll be able to be there to talk about it. We'll also have some folks from the Community Health Access Program and the chat program as well to help teach about some of the things that we're doing.
Excellent. And we will have a panel at the end of the morning so that people have the opportunity to ask questions and dig a little bit deeper if you've got concerns or questions or ideas about how to additionally use these resources. So appreciate you bringing that innovation to us.
Yeah, it's certainly exciting.
So
it's a great project.
As an attendee at this November event, you're going to be sitting in the audience as well. What would you like to see discussed at the symposium in November?
Well, obviously my focus is on the pre-hospital environment and the EMS, and I think as we migrate to EMS 3.0, we need to think outside the box with regard to what resources are available out in the pre-hospital world. We know that many aspects of the outpatient environment are broken, whether it be people deemed non-compliant because they're not getting to appointments or not taking their medicines, all 20 of them in different arrays throughout the day. We have the opportunity of helping solve some of these problems of some of our most difficult patient population. And EMS, I believe, is critical in a couple ways. One is they're an extension outside of the hospital. They get into the patient's homes and can take a look at some of the real types of things that are affecting these patients. But the other thing is that they can have a little bit more of an acute and persistent interaction with these patients to help get them over that hump, those first few days after surgery, or to prevent them from having problems with an exacerbation of their chronic medical condition may be caught a little bit sooner and preventing that transport to the emergency department and the bounce backs in the 30-day windows and things. So I really believe that the EMS presence at this particular meeting is going to be critical for that future thinking idea.
Well, I hope as many EMS providers and services and directors that want to attend are able to attend in November, because definitely we need as many voices and opinions and ideas as we can get. I really see this as a learning collaborative and the opportunity to know what exists in our community that we can take advantage of and network with, because awareness is the first step in the knowledge translation pipeline. If we're not aware of what everybody's doing, we're not going to really be able to align our efforts, because I think that's what everybody wants to do. Well,
yes, I can't wait to shamelessly poach some of the resources that you guys will have there.
So, Brian, any final thoughts before we finish this interview?
No, I appreciate it. This is a wonderful opportunity, and I appreciate the time.
Well, thank you, Brian. Thanks for giving us a few tidbits of what's coming in November.
It'll be exciting.